Welcome back to the Stabilized YouTube channel. Today we're going to be playing more with my top 8 list from Brisbane Regionals, the Malamar Necrozma deck. Today I'm joined by Blake Whiteman. How you going, Blake?
I'm doing good, thank you.
What deck are you going to be playing today, Blake?
Today I'm going to be bringing you Brent's second place list from Brisbane.
The exact 60 cards that Brent played?
Yeah.
Should be an exciting matchup then. I actually played Brent in Swiss at Brisbane Regionals, and I was quite convincingly defeated, so we'll see if I've learnt the matchup a little better since then.
Yep, hopefully.
I think this is a matchup that can very easily go either way. I don't think it's a one-sided matchup for the most part. And I'm going first, so that definitely helps a lot.
Yeah.
My opening is quite subpar though, but it's not terrible. It's not terrible. For a second, I thought I was going to be forced to open Dawn Wings.
I've got some promising stuff. So.
Oh, top deck Lily is interesting. Well, it's one of those hands where I might be better off using Cynthia, because Lily will get me, what, 4 cards? And I'm not holding any If I was holding Malamars, I would consider going for Lily to try and get some in case, but since I'm not holding any Malamars, I think I'm actually better off going for Cynthia here, which is a bit unfortunate. So.
Yeah. There's nothing sadder than having a Lily in your opening hand and not being able to make it better than Cynthia.
Especially when, in this list specifically, there's so many cards to lower your hand size, like Mysterious Treasure and Ultra Ball. But this was a pretty good hand to get off Lily at least, so I can't be too upset. Got double Inkay and pass it over to you.
Cool. I got pretty much most of what I could ask for, which was just the Elm to start with.
Yeah, that's probably a fine card to have. I mean, having an energy attachment, it makes it even better, but that's not strictly necessary, because you don't really need to double attach all the time in this deck.
No.
We've obviously got access to counter gain if you need it at some point.
I think. Yep, that's there, cool. And that one.
Oh, you're preemptively playing around the Chimecho. Good job.
Yeah, I feel like the best way to lose this matchup is to not play around Chimecho, so I've decided to play around Chimecho.
I think that is a very good idea.
Especially when you started Marshadow and all you need to do is ditch it. So
yeah, I'm kind of conflicted.
Or even so, you can just retreat into it.
I'm holding Energy Lily, and I'm unsure if I want to attach to the active before I retreat. Sorry, before I Lily, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get into anything else, so I may as well attach it.
Yeah, and you draw more outs as well.
Yeah.
The attach.
Problem is, I don't think there's anything I can really do with this Marshadow this turn.
I was going to say you could have just acrobiked away your Chimecho then, but
I was hoping to. I've got the option of not much, mostly pass.
Yep. Cool.
I don't think. I mean, you've obviously got a pretty good hand, but I don't think you're threatening anything. You've got an insane hand. I don't think you're threatening a knockout on this Marshadow though, so I guess I just pass.
Oh look, that's a discard for trade. Cool.
I'm going to assume this turn ends with an Ice Blade to knock out an Inkay, or even setting up a Malamar knockout. But I think the Marshadow at least is there.
Yeah, that's pretty valid. I think it would be way too ambitious to try and go for a Marshadow knockout this turn. Plus, you can just like get another Marshadow and like return kill on a Zoroark pretty easily.
And honestly, losing the Inkay might even be worse than losing the Marshadow.
Alright, crap.
Oh jeez, alright.
What does the second one mean?
You don't really assume you get 2 ever, do you?
No, I don't plan to get 1 when I play this card usually. So
does the second mean extra trade bait?
I think so. I don't know what it is gonna be though. I've already got a really good. Well, I suppose I'm gonna need 2 now, so I might as well.
Yeah.
Grab. I was just trying to think if there was a card that made it worth grabbing along with Ninetales, so I was looking through the deck, but still don't have a second rail it down. I guess not.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing you're really looking for is more basic Pokemon, and Zoroark is the best way to do that. There's no netball in this list.
Yeah, I really didn't want to commit I had the DCE on the first turn, but I really didn't want to commit it.
Yeah, if you have the Fairy, it's a lot stronger.
Yeah.
But that's usually when you're planning on going into the Fairy Ninetales, but since you've gone straight into the Water one, the extra attachment is nowhere near as important.
I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, as I was just saying, all you really need this turn is basic Pokemon, and Elm is exactly what gets you there. That seems pretty good.
Okie dokie. That's a pretty good turn. This allows me to play how I want to play instead of making inferior play. Let's get rid of that.
Certainly an intimidating turn 2 for you.
Yeah. I think like one of my main aims is trying to make pure retreat options really hard, as well as take out Malamars.
Yeah. I've got a weird
Like,
hand.
that's something that's super frustrating about the deck. Even though you run so many, like if there's ever a time where you don't have a good retreat option off a knockout.
Yeah, exactly. My turn right now is really awkward because if I had any way to declare an attack with Marshadow GX, I could Goose Mature Zoroark. But I still haven't found a way to escort anything useful into the discard pile.
Yeah.
So I think I'm kind of forced to just let loose here and hope that I get something good. Your hand is pretty sizable, so certainly not a bad time to use let loose.
I wasn't holding Rare Candy Decidueye, so I'm not like super upset that that's gone.
Yeah.
But there was like a Cynthia in it and trade bait, so.
Well, that's an interesting acrobike. I think it's a bit late to take any use of that.
It's that play that I was talking about at the start, but it's just sort of poorly timed now.
Yeah. Now, the disappointing thing about Giratina in this matchup is that the 40 damage is always super bad. No matter where you put it, it's terrible.
Yep. Always relevant.
Like, I feel like for this specific board, the only place that it's ever worth putting it is
Marshadow?
the active.
No.
I think it's got to be the active, right?
On itself, yeah.
And that's like really bad. I think it's the only realistic play for me to do right now is to use this Giratina though. So I'm just gonna have to take the 40. I don't think Bell Silence or Hypnosis. I could actually try and go for a sneaky play with Hypnosis. That's the only other option.
You did try. Oh yeah, what? No, I killed it.
Yeah,
yes.
Sucks.
I was like, how did he discard that? No, I killed it.
So, because what I'm thinking is, I might, if I just put you to sleep this turn, I might be able to get a one hit with Necrozma GX next turn.
Yeah.
I feel like that's better. I feel like if I'm forced to just 2-hit you with Shadow Impact, that's just so bad for me. I think I have to try and buy a turn here because I'm far behind. Well, that didn't work. But that's alright. In an ideal world, I can get the knockout next turn anyway. So, I mean, this is still really bad for me, because if you get access to a second Decidueye, which with Ninetales, it seems pretty likely, and I'm losing a Malamar every single turn. I am running 2 rescue stretches, so it's not the end of the world if I have to dedicate them all to Malamars, but it puts me so far behind my setup, and your setup is certainly not lacking. In fact, I'd probably say your 6 Pokemon in play are the exact 6 most ideal Pokemon for you to have in this matchup. I'm also in the position where now that you've got double Decidueye and both Ninetales, after this turn, anytime I bench an NK, there's no way that you're ever going to miss the knockout, because you can just snipe 30 and then double Feather Arrow to kill an NK. So, I think this game is almost over already, honestly. The only thing I've really got going for me is that I'm going to be able to take 2 prizes next turn, and if I'm able to just get a whole bunch of Inkeys down, maybe I can just outrush the speed that you're able to kill me at.
I think I could have definitely like attempted a knockout on the active that turn, but I really want to deny you all your Malamars so that you can't refuel an attack. Otherwise, it's just sort of no point and it becomes a trading game.
Yeah.
If I just make it so that like the Malamar that eventually goes down, it's your only attacker that's worth anything, then I feel like that's more.
I think that's the game plan that's going to eventually win you the game. I feel.
Yeah.
Alright, so I haven't really checked my prizes too thoroughly this game, and not only is my 4th Inkay prized, but I'm also missing my Lele.
Dorming? Damn. You'd say Dorming. Dorming is a card I'm not fond of in any matchup where I like to go ahead.
I've got the knockout in the active, but I've got a 0 card hand now, so I don't think this is a sustainable game plan. In fact, I would not be surprised if this is the last attack I declare for the rest of the game. I'm almost considering going for Black Ray here. Because once I discard these energy, you're just going to knock out my Malamar and I've got nothing. If I Black Ray, then at least I've still got energy on the board and I can just start using Shadow Impact. But that's also terrible.
Yeah.
I think at this point I have to get lucky and try and unprize some of the good cards I have prized. So
yeah. You
just
know there's
go.
a Lele prize, and, well, you probably didn't count them, but there might be a supporter as well, so...
Yeah, and of course, getting an Inkay is really important. I mean, I got the Inkay, but you've got the Malamar knockout almost on board already. All you need is...
Yeah, I just need the attachment,
yeah.
Really.
Luckily, you can't just counter game, but...
Yeah.
I feel like if your turn involves you attaching an energy this turn, then I think the game's almost over.
Yeah, and the problem is, it does, but it's not the right one at the moment, so I have to look for it. So,
is there a wrong one? I don't think there's any that wouldn't work.
Well, Fairy Energy or Rainbow Energy don't work, do they?
Oh, you're talking about using Zoroark.
Yeah.
I was thinking you were going to take out the Malamar with your other Ninetales.
Yeah, I might have rushed the turn a bit too much, but...
I was kind of surprised you promoted the Zoroark.
I think I just rushed into this.
I mean, to be fair, taking out this Marshadow GX is equally as good as knocking out the Malamar, if not better. They're both pretty game-winning plays.
Yeah.
But at least this play I've got a small chance of you missing?
Yeah, I did miss.
But, I mean, let's be real here. Am I even in a spot to have a chance of coming back even if you give me this turn? Like, there's nothing I can really do on this turn anyway.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
if you unprize the Lele, you can go grab something.
I didn't get the Lele. So, I'm in quite a bit of trouble here. I can at least start charging up another attacker. But I don't...
You could get an Inkay, so...
Yeah.
There's possibilities, but... I mean...
I don't see myself getting my last 4 prizes, though. I think I can maybe squeeze out another 2 at some point. But the last ones are going to be such a struggle. My board is so bad right now.
Well, I was just going to kill the Marshadow, but I think I should make... Well, actually, no, I'm 10 off killing both.
If you're
Unless
able... Yeah, if you're able to get a...
Yeah. See, I need the candy. Let's see if I can find the candy.
If you get the candy, that's pretty amazing. According to your discard pile, you've definitely got 1 left. Whether it's prized or not, I don't know.
I didn't check if it was prized or not.
Yeah.
I did not achieve it, so...
This is still a pretty good play.
Yeah. So, we go... 1 here. We don't need any in the back. I would usually set up for the Inkay, but I'm gonna take 2 prizes next turn, so I think I'll just set up with the...
Because what was happening in my top 8, sorry, not my top 8, in my Swiss game against Brent, when we played this exact matchup, he would often, instead of Feather Arrowing the active Malamar here, he would just Feather Arrow the Inkay instead and leave the Malamar trapped in the active, which would be quite effective in this situation, because obviously I need all of my energy to go on the bench, I can't afford to attach and retreat. But the 2 prize turn here is so strong, because you know there's no way you're going to miss a knockout in the future.
And also, you're 3 Malamars down.
Yeah. If I draw a supporter here, it is theoretically possible for me to get the knockout on this active, though, with Necrozma GX. Oh, my top deck isn't good.
Yeah.
I think that's it for me. If I was able to pull off the Prismatic Burst for 190 and maybe bench another Inkay, you would have to realistically win on that following turn, which to be fair, you almost definitely would have. But if you didn't, I would have had a chance to steal the game. But I think I'm imagining the perfect draws, which was never realistically going to happen in this game anyway.
Well, that's how the board finished, so...
Yep. Was the candy prized?
Yep.
Oh well. That seems pretty good to me.
Well, that was largely due to unfortunate draws from your side, but also an insane draw from my side, so...
I feel like if my draws or prizes had been better, I would have probably taken 2 more prizes, but I don't think I was ever in a position to realistically win that game.
Especially if I didn't misplay on the 3rd turn, where I went all in on trying to kill the
active.
The active instead of just setting up more knockouts.
Yeah, I feel like if you just knocked out the Malamar in that game, you would have on that turn, you would have almost sealed the game. But at the same time, it's pretty much either way was enough to win the game in that position.
Yeah, I'm still in the wrong mindset because I'm coming fresh out of just playing Smash Bros like the past 4 or 5 days, which is why you haven't seen much content from the channel if you've been paying attention.
Yeah, but we'll smash out the way now for the first couple of days. We'll hopefully be getting a few more videos out.
The immediate hype has died off, so now we can focus more attention on the channel. But yeah, I wasn't really thinking about the mashup too much. I was just like, oh, that's the active, let's kill it, instead of like the crazy stuff that this deck can do all the time.
For sure. So I have some good news. My Lele isn't prized this game.
That's true. I can see.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked that I've got access to my Lele this game.
Yep.
Oh, that's
why it makes lists, the Wonder Tag ability. It's mostly a bonus, but the main attraction is Energy Drive, of course.
And don't worry, the Mars Shadow, which is my backup draw out, is in fact prized.
Oh, excellent.
So let's see how it goes. I've got a pretty good Lily this time at least.
It's definitely played it, so it's better than last time's.
Yes. And
also the 3rd Inkay here, or the Chimecho, whichever you went for.
I think I'm going for the Inkay, just because I really have to make sure I get as many of these out as I can. Although having an attacker which I can attach to is very tempting as well. I think it has to be the Inkay. With the Inkay, I can get off pretty much any attack next turn, even without an attachment this turn.
It enables more plays for you next turn.
I think I'm pretty good turn.
You sort of lock yourself into the Chimecho by benching it and attaching to it this turn.
Yeah, I was actually considering going for even Giratina on that turn, just to guarantee I take the first prize, knowing that you've got that out to Chimecho anyway.
Yeah.
So getting the Inkay obviously gives me the option to go into both relatively easily.
Yeah, I'm still in that awkward spot where I don't really know what the best 3 are. I think these 3 are fine. But I don't think the hand's good enough to warrant the second rowlet, which is probably like the greedier option.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you kind of wish you can find one naturally, so you can have a total of 4. But this is probably the safest play. One of each in the Ditto kind of gives you the option to go into 2 of anything.
Yeah.
For the most part.
I love going second with this deck too, because like you can just sort of beacon for whatever you're missing as well.
Yeah, it's totally not relevant that I've prized my Mars Shadow. Doesn't matter at all, does it?
No, not at all.
Alright, so I've got 3 Cynthias, so I'm going to play one of those. See how that goes. I almost wish that I'd just attached to the active last turn, because at least I would have been able to do something this turn if I'd done that.
Yeah.
But now, I'm kind of in trouble, because I missed all attackers.
Wow, that was about the best thing you could have said to me just then, because I happen to have prized the Water Ninetales. So
oh my gosh.
If you had Chimecho'd me then, I might have just lost the game.
That would have been very ideal. I would have happily settled for a Chimecho. I would have happily settled for any attack on this active Vulpix now you've attached to an energy to it. I was actually kind of expecting you to attach to the bench because obviously I can charge something up on this turn, take a knock on the Vulpix, but
yeah, I was kind of like that. My attachment reasoning was like my worst case scenario was you playing down Chimecho and attacking with it, not knocking this out.
Yeah.
So I didn't actually mind terribly if you knocked this out, because that was better in my mind than you having used Chimecho.
That makes sense to me. And also the fact that I didn't attach to the Lele turn 1 kind of gives you a bit more room with the amount of cards I need to take a knockout.
Yeah.
Rare Candy Field Blower, that's kind of annoying.
Yeah, I kind of like, especially since you missed the attachment, I kind of like the idea of stranding this Lele.
Yeah, as we were saying on turn 1, you not having access to the second Rowlet is a pretty big deal just because it stops you from going absolutely insane on this turn. But this is still pretty ideal for a turn 2. You can't complain with that, right?
Yeah, I can't, like, obviously it'd be nice, but I don't think it's reasonable to play to your optimal hands every turn. Like, because, you know, you gotta play within reason.
Let's say, for example, that Ditto instead was the second Rowlet, and I was actually able to knock out the Vulpix. Your position would have been much worse. Whereas by getting the Ditto, you guarantee that you have access to Vulpix, and you have the option for a second Zoroark on the following turn, which obviously eventually will help you get another Decidueye.
That's about what I expect of the card usually. Alright.
That seems fair after game 1.
Yeah, I suppose it's 50-50 now. Oh, now because of those coin flips, I don't have trade bait for the second one.
That's unfortunate.
Just clear my attacks.
So I'm actually very happy to see that you put that Rainbow Energy on the active. Because 190 is a huge number for this deck. 200 is often slightly out of range, and it's the reason why Giratina's ability to be able to snipe 10 damage to the bench is pretty relevant a lot of the time. Because you can do 200 to hit Lycanroc and Ninetales, but when the Pokemon you need to do 10 to is in the active, it becomes a lot harder to hit 190 if your opponent doesn't have 10 damage already. So the Rainbow Energy is pretty clutch for me right now. Of course, I still need a pretty insane combo to actually pull off the knockout. Oh, that top deck makes it a lot easier. Alright, so how many energy are in my discard? I've got 2 energy in discard.
So you've got as much as you need for this play to already be within reason.
Yeah, I've got
if you can ditch another one, it means you could like miss a piece and.
Well, the thing is, I'm holding the Psychic in hand. I'm just deciding if I want to attach it or discard it.
I suppose. I mean, if you had the Escape Board in hand, you'd obviously discard it. I suppose.
I do have the Escape Board in hand, but I'm risking not hitting another attachment.
Okay.
I think because my other discard's pretty harsh if I do choose to keep the Psychic, but I think that's going to end up. I think that's going to end up costing me, to be honest. I'm not feeling confident about that play. All I need is an Energy and a Malamar, or 2 Malamar off of this Cynthia. But that is 2 cards instead of just 1, so I would have much rather had a bit of a safer play by holding the Energy. I did get another Energy, but I'm still searching for a second Malamar. So it's going to come down to Acrobite. Wow, that's pretty insane. Now the question is, do I evolve the one with the damage, or the fresh one? I think I evolved the one with the damage, just because you're not going to have a Ninetales in play. So that was a pretty clutch Acrobite. I think this puts me back into the game, whereas if I'd missed, you would have pretty easily gotten way too far ahead for me to catch up.
Yeah, it would have been a similar state to last game.
Mainly because in the last game you were able to follow up with a second Elm to kind of cement your board, but this game, your board after turn 2 isn't as strong after I take this Ninetales out. You don't have a backup attacker ready to go.
Yeah.
Obviously Zoroark is a good attacker, but I feel like in this matchup, both Ninetales kind of work better.
It's not ideal, for sure.
Especially Necrozma GX in the active is probably the only thing you can't realistically knock out with a Zoroark. With one Decidueye at least. With two you can, but with just one Decidueye, I think I'm kind of safe this turn.
I've actually got a pretty insane turn considering the limited amount of like resources I've got access to.
I mean, the Elm here seems pretty strong. I'm interested to see what else you've got coming up. I imagine a Choice Band, maybe? Oh, a Counter Catcher. That's what, yeah, that's pretty strong. As long as you can't take both out, though, I'm pretty happy overall.
No, I cannot take both out, but I can set it up so in the future I can make your turn very difficult.
Yeah, this is certainly going to be tough. As I was just saying, if this Zoroark was actually a follow-up Ninetales, this game would have almost been over, because you could take the double KO here. Yeah. Although you would need another Decidueye. Like, your board was just not quite good enough to have an explosive start like you did in the second game. But it's still good enough to put a lot of pressure on.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, it's like a Guzma and a Feather Arrow from wiping your board of recharges.
Yeah. I think at this point it's going to... I'm going to be up pretty far ahead in prizes, and it's going to be a matter of can I close out the game before you win, basically. Because I don't think that... I think if this game drags on, I'm not going to be the winner.
Yeah.
I do have the luxury at least of being able to use the shuffle effect of Stretcher to get both pieces back, because I have Ultra Ball to immediately search for the 13k.
Yeah, that is nice.
And once again, it's going to come down to, can I draw an energy off of the Cynthia? Last time I was able to.
Okay. I thought you were already in a position where you had it, but...
No. I was close. I had pretty much everything I needed, and needing to hit an energy is the one that I'm usually most confident in being able to hit. So, obviously, that's worked out for me this time. I'm pretty sure I've got an attacker and discard. I'm pretty sure I discarded the Deoxys. Yes, I did.
Yep.
So I needed quite a few cards when you think about it that turn. I needed to be able to discard an attacker. I needed to have access to, obviously, the Marshadow, and, of course, access to a second Malamar. I was asking for quite a lot, but I just happened to have what I needed on that specific turn. The third Inkay is also a huge deal, because without that, I would feel pretty vulnerable to you kind of messing me up quite a bit here. But the third Inkay kind of feels like a safety net.
Okay, let's see what trade decides to give me.
It's pretty reasonable to say you could very easily take a 3 prize turns this turn, obviously. But I don't know if you'd want to. I feel like a 2 prize turn taking out 2 Malamar pieces is stronger than taking out the Lele and a Malamar. So that's all assuming you're able to actually do something this turn. I imagine by the Decidueye promotion that you're obviously planning to Guzma this turn.
And I was.
And that's changed, has it?
I have to see what this is.
Well, that's kind of concerning. I mean, obviously, access to Ninetales is instant access to cost counter gain, sorry, so...
Yeah, all I really wanted that term was my other Alolan Ninetales, and I sort of had... I just needed energy Alolan Ninetales off that trade, and I had everything.
Which Ninetales were you after? The water one or the Fairy?
Fairy.
Yeah.
Because that way I could have used...
I imagine that would have...
grabbed it. It would have been counter gain, rare candy.
Set up the second Decidueye.
And then I could have killed 2 Malamars whilst promoting the Ninetales instead of... But now, I'm thinking the game plan has to change because you've still got 2 energy attached. So going after your Malamars isn't even good.
Yeah, being able to use Deoxys on that turn was useful for multiple reasons. Obviously, keeping the engine play is a pretty big deal when I'm down to 2 prizes. Going for Judge, so you're going to leave the Decidueye in the active most likely. Maybe seeing a Hollow this turn?
I did get it. So I will go for it, because I drew nothing else. So...
I mean, knocking out this Decidueye in the active seems pretty unrealistic. And my win is going to need to involve a Guzma. Looking at my discard, I've only used one Guzma so far. So I should have access to at least another 3 Guzma in deck somewhere. Well, your next turn's going to be good.
Well, that's if you didn't unprize your Marshadow and have access to it, so...
I don't believe I have. I'm pretty sure I didn't have it in that hand that you just
I feel like that would have been a noteworthy card to have unprized.
Yes. I've got a very interesting plan on this turn, though. And I think it's actually worth going for. I'm actually going to Bell of Silence.
Ah, yeah, that's pretty good.
It stops you from using the Ninetales play that you just set up.
Yep.
And even though you can still do quite a bit with Zoroark, it makes it pretty easy for me to win the game if you use Zoroark.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to...
it makes them... Actually, what I really want to do is to actually just use Decidueye.
Oh, you're planning on using Decidueye. That's kind of cool.
No, I wasn't. Now I am.
That seems fair. Yeah, Decidueye is a pretty good attacker in this position. Much better than Zoroark.
Especially when it does what I want it to, basically, which is kill that thing.
It's a good thing you opted for the Hollow Hunt, because if you decided not to do that, then Decidueye wouldn't have even been an option.
Man, I just got, like, fat nothing, man. That is crazy.
Well, that's unfortunate.
I basically got an extra copy of everything I Hollow Hunted for that turn. Which is basically what I was trying to, like, I was sort of planning around the opposite.
And considering I made half of the cards you got off of Hollow Hunt obsolete, that doesn't sound very good.
No, it's not. Let's see. Well, Guzman wins you the game on Zoro, so I don't think attaching this energy is punished in any way.
Obviously, you know that I don't currently have access to Guzma.
Yeah, well, obviously, otherwise you would have.
But in this current position, I win the game with an energy as well. Actually, no, I don't have a Necrozma in the discard. Never mind.
Yeah, it's just Deoxys at the moment.
Okay, that's a lot less scary for you.
You scared me for a moment. I was like, what? How? It's just when the Deoxys get that strong.
Okay, so I need access to a Necrozma and an energy. Still not super unlikely, but much harder than an energy. Now that you've invested that attachment to the Vulpix, I can't really see any play you can really make this turn besides hoping I whiff, or maybe going into a beacon. I'm gonna guess this is a stalling of the Malamar. Yep. This seems like a strong counterplay.
And also a thinning of more cards that aren't cards that I need to draw off trade this next turn.
Yes. I think you should be pretty set up, especially since I'm not going to have access to Bell of Silence, assuming this turn goes well for you. So this turn's gone well for you. I'm just going to throw that out right now.
Alright, cool.
This is a Psychic Recharge, and that'll be it. If I put this energy on the Marshadow, then it probably dies. Yes. But that means the Malamar survives, at least. I'm thinking my best bet is going to be to charge up the Necrozma GX. Even though it's slightly harder to knock out Zoroark with it. You can't take out both, and if you kill the Marshadow, then I've got access to 2 Malamar and attachment, which could potentially win the game. I think that's all I need to do this turn. Actually, there is one other thing I could do, but I don't think it's worth it. I'm just going to pass that. This is your window to come back into the game.
Alright. Well, let's immediately screw up.
It's still close, But another turn or two like that, and you should be pretty safe to close out the game here. You're in the position where you can theoretically take 3 prizes this turn, which means that you're in the position where you can theoretically win next turn.
Yeah, I kind of want to... trying to think of the best way to feather arrow and attack your board and set up for the... I think all I have to do is make sure that this Snowy Winds takes 1 prize without putting something else in the active.
So I imagine your best play is to double feather arrow the Inkay, knock that out, and
I think so.
leave the Malamar active.
And then I can just Guzma kill the Lele and the Marshadow next turn.
Yeah.
I think that's the play. I should trade for an attachment this turn though, so I have more options. That is attachment.
This is a pretty familiar game to me, because my games with Brent in Swiss were actually very similar to this, where I was able to get super far ahead in both games, but through careful planning and feather arrows, he was always able to put me in positions where I was just 1 or 2 cards short of being able to close out the game, and he was able to very quickly catch up and take his prizes very quickly.
Also, the other thing that would be, it would also be silly to take 3 prizes this turn, because then it shuts off counter game, which means I need more stuff.
Also correct. So that's the best thing about the Decidueye counter game synergy. You can stay behind for as long as you want to, and then just win the game almost instantly. So I'm pretty much having to top deck pretty good. I'm going to need a pretty good top deck here to win the game, I think.
I think it's Guzma.
I think it has to be Guzma, yeah. I got a good top deck. It's not good enough, but it's pretty close. Once again, I think I'm able to do 190 damage. 90? Possibly. Actually, no, because you've taken out my Inkay, so I can't even do that.
Yes,
alright.
Using Necrozma.
Let's see if I can think of anything. That's not really gonna help. I think this one's gonna be just shy of the victory for me. 3 Guzma in deck, but no way to access it. The Marshadow being prized, and the Lele opening is gonna cost me any chance of getting back into this game, I think.
Yeah.
It's
funny, I feel like this... it's funny how I kind of feel when I'm playing against this deck, like Decidueye, I kind of feel like I'm playing against Stall or Mill, because the games always come down to, I feel like I'm like 1 turn away from winning, or like just I'm so close to winning, but I'm just not there.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that.
And the other, like, it's like that's sort of like the similar playstyle where, whilst they're doing very different things, they play from behind the entire match until they just win. And it can often leave your opponent feeling like helpless and frustrated.
Alright, so you Hollow Hunted for a Guzma. Have you played that Guzma yet?
I played a Guzma.
Okay, so I don't know for sure you've got
Marshadow.
That's correct, okay. I couldn't remember if that was a custom counter catcher or not. So the only Pokemon I can bring into the active and not instantly lose is Necrozma GX. Anything else in the active, and you can knock it out and Feather Arrow for game. If I bring out the Chimecho, you can take out the Lele. If I bring out the Marshadow, you can just knock it out and Feather Arrow the Malamar. So it really does have to be the Necrozma and hope. Do I bench the Inkay? I think I do, because if you get...
Well, it doesn't involve you having Inkay in play doesn't involve my win condition, or
exactly.
My win condition any sort of direction.
So knowing that the Marshadow is prized means that I may as well bench you.
Literally, the only way benching Inkay was a mistake was if Ultra Ball or Mysterious Treasure wasn't out for you and you needed a discard.
Yeah. I guess the other thing is, it's the only Pokemon I have in play which doesn't have free retreat, but that would only matter if Guzma didn't win you the game, which it does.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be the set, looks like.
Yep, I'm just sort of holding everything, and I found this little guy.
You know, I'd be very surprised. I'd be very surprised if you weren't holding everything, considering everything was just a Guzma.
Yeah. Well, I have so many different options to win the game. Let's just say it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I don't
really
think that's unlikely at all.
I think when this deck sets up, it can just sort of choose any game plan it wants, and it means it's like it's really just hard unless you're playing a deck that also achieves win conditions like a similar way, where it just sort of like Guardy Swamp it, where it just sets up like ridiculous board states that you just sort of make you like open your mouth in like disbelief at how they set it up in the first place.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
Unless you're facing a similar board state, you can sort of just do it at once and win.
Those games definitely reminded me of my game with Brent at Brisbane, because even though I drew much better against Brent, I was much closer to winning in those games. It was still pretty much the same result, where I was always just slightly off of what I needed to win the game. Difference between my game with Brent was I never actually had much of an opportunity to top deck for the win. He always made sure that I was slightly away from having a win condition no matter what. But the result is still the same, regardless of whether I had a good style or not. But
yeah.
Thank you guys very much for watching. If you enjoy our content, don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe. And we will be back tomorrow with more games from the Necrozma Malamar list. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
See you guys.